Hey, what's good, my friends? Thanks again for checking out the Open Decks podcast. It's been a busy few weeks for my guest, Coffee Club Social. I sat down with Shep at Eaton Hotel in Washington, D.C. prior to the Cafe Disco Rex event there on April 22nd. Since then, they've had a pop-up at Expat in DC, and if you're listening to this on or near the release date, keep an eye out for Carajillo. That's their latest concept in Baltimore at Vessel on the rooftop Sunday, May 4th. Theme throughout this conversation is discovery, whether that's unique experiences or coffee cocktails or up-and-coming DJs. I think you'll enjoy the conversation with Shep and maybe find something of your own to discover in here. Thanks again for checking us out. Enjoy the conversation.
I love DC, man. It's amazing.
Um, so yes, you have Eaton Radio tonight.
Yep.
This will air well after Eaton Radio has happened,
And that's okay.
Yeah. But who's going to be spinning tonight with Eaton Radio?
So we have Catco, that's spinning, and then we have Just Brand, a guy that I met from Baltimore not too long ago. He spins mostly house. His particular thing is Afro house, which I love. And then of course Reid Jaxson. We've been starting Cafe Disco, kind of a collective, kind of a label coming up together. So yeah.
Perfect. We'll make sure we get the links back to tonight.
Absolutely.
Back to the Future. Yeah, we'll make sure we get the links on the show notes so people can go back and listen to.
Oh yeah.
Sets.
Heck yeah.
So what's what's going on with Coffee Club Social now? How did it get started, and kind of what's the journey been like?
So Coffee Club Social got started in around 2021. We kind of started doing, we didn't really start doing coffee shop parties until 2022, but we were doing like outside events. The crazy part is that when we started doing them, they were more community events that featured house music.
Yeah.
And these were Mondays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. So they weren't ragers, but they were like more of like wake up type of parties, like before you sober parties, before you go to work. It was really cool, but it wasn't very sustainable.
Yeah.
We've done a few of them, and people love the concept, but like, how many times can you do a Monday morning party?
What was the response like for the 7 a.m.? I mean, for an after party, it's one thing, but
Yeah, it was definitely not an after party. It was the before party. So the response was kind of mixed, but it was like, wow, that's bold. You know what I mean? Like that's something that nobody's done. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's the point, right? So I'm the type of person that when people doubt things, it kind of pushes me to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it definitely happened. It worked really well. We did like 3 or 4 of them, and then we saw that. That's when we saw that we're like, we can't be doing like these all the time. You know
What was
I mean?
what was the music? Were you doing like funky stuff, like just also what was?
Yeah, just mostly like funky stuff. A lot of just like funky classic house as well. Nothing too like harsh or crazy, no tech or anything like that. I mean, like it wasn't, it's a morning party. We not playing a lot of deep house.
Yeah.
A lot of deep house was good. It all depended what DJ we had that day.
Is this is all in Baltimore?
Yeah, this started in Baltimore. It's all in Baltimore. We started at the Why Not lot, which is now closed. We love that place. Then we did one at the Harbor.
Okay.
And then we did another one at Why Not lot. And then when we switched to coffee shops, we started at a place called Luna Garden, which closed about last year. Coffee shop right in Fells Point, and we started doing the coffee shop parties like the end of 2022.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were the first ones to do these things, but I will say that not a lot of people, I don't know anybody that was doing them around that time. You know what I mean?
I don't either. I mean, yeah, it's I mean, a lot of things every year come back in kind of slightly new forms or slightly new iterations.
Absolutely.
You're certainly the earliest that I've heard of. So, I did 2 coffee shop parties in 2023. Did like, and the mistake that we made, it didn't work out. We tried to like match the down tempo mood of the evening instead of like working with them to elevate the experience.
Yeah.
And anyways, yeah, like it kind of cycled out, and then it's been coming back, but it's one of those things that I think a lot of us have had in the back of our minds for a while.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like clubs, raves, parties, it's all great, but there's a place for music and a place for community that goes beyond like let's get nasty,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So you started what 5 years ago or so.
Yeah, 2021, and then we did, outside parties till 2022, and then of course the coffee shop parties. Our biggest one was the second one actually, where we did it on January 1st, 2023. We started at 11 and went till 2, and we probably had about like 150 people there. It was amazing. And then we started doing that for about a year, no, a little less than a year, and then we heard they were closing down, so we switched over to Ceremony Coffee. Shout out to Ceremony because they really worked with us for the past like year and a half. And they're a great coffee company. We go there a lot, and they really like help build Coffee Club in their shop. Definitely helped, of course, like elevate the experience. We didn't want the down tempo stuff. We definitely wanted more of like a hyper, more not a hype, but more of like a upbeat type of upbeat type of vibe. You know what I mean? And it worked out.
How much of that you think is like is kind of a generational change, where generational in the sense that like as the music changed, the ways that people experience it changed as well, right? And how much of that is music driven versus how much of it is driven by the people who like, is it music first or is it community first, or is it just kind of both coming together at the right time?
That's a great question. I think it's both coming together. I think when it first started, it's about the community first. I think now it's a little bit more balanced out, and it's more about the music and the experience. Because now we don't just do coffee club. We don't do parties at coffee shops. Right. We're doing stuff at rooftops. We're doing stuff at clubs. So we're trying to expand out and really create a good experience and create a community within coffee clubs. So like, at some point you'll be buying our coffee and buying our t-shirts and then, buying our cocktails and stuff like that. So we want to create more of a community within ourselves. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we invite whoever wants to be invited in. You know what I mean? But this is our community. If you want to be a part of it, come on through.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, we certainly see it because you guys are down here now in DC.
Yeah.
You've had
shout out DC, man. Y'all showing us love, man. For real.
We're you've got Baltimore and DC. How much of this do you see kind of going beyond that? Like, do you want to take this outside of the immediate area?
Yes, absolutely. So we're working on the formula, but what we're doing is trying to take it out on the East Coast. Roughly the goal is 2026.
Yeah.
We want to do Philly, New York. Of course, we're starting with DC, maybe Virginia. Well, not maybe Virginia, definitely Virginia, because there's definitely a scene down there. And then kind of expand westward a little bit. We've been working with some people in Denver. We've been talking to some people in Denver, Java Jam Social. So we're working with them to maybe get me and Remy out there. And then I'm working with Club Evil in LA, a friend Mike Stern that's from Baltimore. So we're trying to just right now we're laying the foundation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm guessing you have as much you have inbound people. You're finding you on social. They're finding your events.
Yeah.
They like the concept.
Absolutely.
And a place like Denver, for example, is great because Denver is an outdoor city.
Yeah.
Like that.
But yep.
Yeah, it's natural extension. But when you're thinking about performers, when you're thinking about DJs for your coffee club social events in particular, like what is there anything you're looking for, specifically, or are you just kind of trying to find different vibe, different mood matches the day, or are you like in mind that you want to go after?
That's exactly what I do. I kind of try to match the vibe of the event, because my event really starts off with a theme and a concept, and then I kind of tailor the music towards that. So I am a little selective in my with my DJs. So like, I mean, I get a lot of requests every day.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it is not, and I'm gonna say this because, definitely because we're on air, but like, it's not that, I don't want anybody, I don't want to work with any of these people. It's just that like, I have to be selective because I'm not just putting on just a show. And the second thing is, it's not really all about the DJ with my shows. Right. It's about the experience, especially with our seasonal parties, like the one we have on May 4th, Carajillo. It's about like, it's a sensory experience. You know what I mean? It's about like, oh, the vibe is cool. Oh, and the DJ's out too, because this is the thing is like, I work with a lot of DJs that are either just getting started or just don't really have the biggest names.
Yeah.
So like when this may sound harsh, but it's not. When they come to my shows and when they come to a show, they're not going to know who a lot of these DJs are, but they're going for the experience, and then they're discovering that that the DJs are dope.
Yeah.
And then now, you created a deeper connection with the DJs. So that's kind of like what we're doing as far as Coffee Club and how we pick our DJs. Because like when we started with House of Jane, or J Drive really specifically with House of Jane, I was her first show. This was last year. You know what I mean? and like she didn't really have a presence. And like, you know, I like working with people like that because she was still talented, but she was also hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I like. That's what that's one thing I definitely look for in DJs.
Yeah. And I'm sure with like your success, J Drive, House of Jane's success,
Yeah.
you know, people start to see a pattern, a recipe, and think like, oh, like I want to get down that road too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've in Northern Virginia, similarly, like you start to put on events, and you get people who are, you know, hey, I want to try it. Can I come to your event?
Yeah.
You got to, you know, it's. Yes, like I've been very much open door. Like, hey, come on in. I did open decks, did other stuff.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like you want to protect the brand, and it sounds like you're building a much bigger brand, and so you've got kind of a broader or bigger, much longer term vision to protect.
Absolutely. Yep, I do. So, it's not that like I'm not local. You know what I mean? I still support the local community. I still support Baltimore and DC communities. It's not that, and it's not that. It's just that I don't want to stay local because I feel like that my brand is bigger than just the Baltimore and DMV area. You know what I mean? I feel like that this brand could work, even though there's a lot of people that are doing these coffee shop parties. They're not really doing it like we're doing it. We have coffee cocktails, we have live art, we have a real sensory experience, and I feel like many cities and towns can benefit from what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't want to be local. It's that I want to I do have a broader spectrum of what I want to do, but I also want to bring some of these local DJs with me as well.
Yeah. I think that's a good perspective to have, right? Bringing people along with you. Like you've got the vision, you've got the aspirations.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's sitting here listening, watching this, thinking like, you know, you're abandoning. It's like, no, this is like, we all know where we're from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I think it's respectable to have that aspiration, that ambition to go a little farther. And I mean, some people may feel differently, but like taking people with you is a pretty strong statement about your character.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're trying to do something that is community building and community oriented and
absolutely
individualistic, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I have a motto, not really a motto, public motto, but a motto for myself. We try to stay elevated but grounded, right?
Yeah.
Because like we love the aesthetic, we love the experience, but at the same time, we don't want to leave those roots. We want to make sure we stay with our art components and, you know, make sure we stay grounded with that and make sure we take care of every guest that comes in there. I made a post a couple weeks ago that says, POV, you've run into the promoter that looks out for your people, right? Yeah. And I try to do that because I come from a server and bartender background. Yeah. So I'm like, are you doing okay? You all right? How's everything?
Yeah.
Oh, the bar's over there. Photo booth is over there. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of these, a lot of the bigger brands that I don't even want to say they're competition because it's different. But I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of these brands, especially in Baltimore. You know, as far as like house and dance music, you know what I mean?
It's amazing how far some of those little things over time take you.
Absolutely.
Right? Like the respecting people's time, respecting their place, like giving them a little extra, like
absolutely.
Again, like I'm from the Midwest, so like pleases and thank yous, that's all like
it matters.
Like, it's very much like don't, you know, and even like ironically, don't speak until you're spoken to. So like those little things that go a long way.
It matters.
You show up for people. You do, you know, you have probably the right gear, the right venue, the right community, the right crowd. Sometimes I think we try to put as much together as possible, and it doesn't quite resonate one with the other. And it sounds like you're really paying attention to, does the visual art and the music and the DJs and myself, the venue, does it all make sense?
Yep.
And that's time consuming and it takes a lot of effort.
It does.
It seems to be paying off.
Yeah, it does. And what we're not trying to do, we're not trying to have a party. We create an experience. Yeah. So like it definitely, it takes a lot of time to do that and prepare for that. But like the result is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a smile from ear to ear once the party's done. You know what I mean?
You got it right now too. I mean,
yeah.
you're clearly
I love what I do, man. Yeah. I love what I do. So, I just think that, I'm just going to keep it going, man.
Talk about the visual arts and either what you've been doing or what you've got in mind for kind of bringing that into your experiences.
So what we do right now, we're kind of growing this right now. So what we do is have a live artist just kind of like come in and paint. It could be a smaller mural. It could be a bigger one. However we can do it, we put it in there. So like our biggest thing, our goal is to have like more of like a bigger art installation and maybe something interactive as well. But right now we have like just an artist come in that just likes to paint, that just sits there by the DJ, literally is right next to the DJ and just paints. And sometimes they'll have an interactive, sometimes it's up to them. But it just kind of like gives an extra visual sensory component to the event, because it's almost like, okay, you're at a house music show, but you're also at kind of an art show as well. Sometimes we have multiple painters too. So it's like you can go and look and really like appreciate the art while appreciating the music at the same time.
Do you find that it's like DJing, you attract a lot of people who bring their USBs? Do you attract a lot of people that show up with their canvas?
Yeah.
Go to, like, just that haven't been, like you book a DJ and next thing you know, there's gonna be 10 other ones standing with the booth.
Absolutely.
Plug in. Visual, like.
Yeah. Not now.
Yeah.
But that will happen. I already know, because I already have people asking me already. I know that it does sometimes for a lot of these artists, it costs a little bit of money for us to hire them. I've been lucky to have a couple artists that are willing to, donate their services. But it's definitely going to come once people start seeing the vision, coming to the parties and seeing the vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a natural opportunity to kind of express their creativity. And I think, again, like we've been talking about, as you see one person, two people, and so on.
Absolutely.
Doing like having a good time, enjoying it, doing it well, it just builds on itself. So Coffee Club Social, in addition, you're starting to get out there as a DJ, as a performer yourself.
Yeah.
What's up been like?
So it's been pretty cool. I don't even want to say pretty cool. It's been very exciting. So I started a few months ago. It's been definitely an experience. It's been a learning experience in great ways, and it's been a learning experience in ways that like I know where I can improve as well.
Yeah.
But it's been an experience nonetheless. I mean, I played out a few times, and I've gotten warm reception. I know that there's a lot I need to learn, because I am surrounded by experienced DJs. You know what I mean? So in a way, that kind of makes me a little bit more hungry, because like I want to be like them. I want to be like y'all. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to be as good as y'all and be as experienced and be as talented as y'all. But also it helps because I can take in all that experience from y'all. You know what I mean? And it helps me in a way. It was just like, oh man, like I can just ask my homie for a question, or ask my homie a question, and then or just like listen to him when he's talking about something that is sorry, excuse me.
No,
listen when he's talking about something that relates to DJing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, okay, this is why he's doing this, or like this is why a lot of DJs may feel this way. You know what I mean? Just an example. So
yeah, no, I get it. I mean, we've all, not, I shouldn't say we've all, those of us who have begun this in the last half decade or so, I think have a similar vantage point of there's a lot of really talented people out there.
Yeah.
We're trying to like follow, we're trying to emulate, but we're also trying to kind of carve our own path at the same time. And,
exactly.
It's good to be surrounded by talent, right? And you clearly are, because the events you're putting on, but also like finding your own way is it's a different journey than like bringing the event together. It's
absolutely. I think that I'm learning, and we talked about this earlier. I'm noticing that a lot of DJs really are everybody's like, I hate to say this word, some people get offended, but a snowflake, you know what I mean? They're all different, you know what I mean? So I think that that's a beautiful thing about knowing all these DJs, is that like everybody has these different like ways of doing things, these different opinions, and like it may seem overwhelming and confusing to a lot of people, but like it really just helps, because like I get to see like how people feel about certain things.
Yeah, it's again, you don't have to look very far to find an event where somebody's playing, right? Here at Eaton Hotel, Tops, your events, like there's a lot of talent that's getting out there, and you can kind of pick up bits and pieces, but at the same time, like you're kind of early in that journey yourself.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you're like itching to like just try more and more and more.
Yeah, man. Like I am excited to just play out. Like we got the Expat show. We got a show at Expat on the 26th. I don't think this will be out by then, but that's okay. But we have that show, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to really like, it's my first time really like putting a set together, and like really actually, well, I prepared for sets, but this is my first time really preparing for this set and really like wanting to show out.
Yeah.
But I have goals. I plan on playing in DC at some point soon, and plan on playing at a few venues in Baltimore. you know, so I'm not gonna really stop until I reach those. So I know I got a long way going forward. So
So expat, Western Market, Washington, D.C. You guys are there. This will be out just after that. I would, I would imagine it's not going to be your last time. It's a good spot right next to GW campus.
Yeah.
Right. They've got a lot of like food and coffee and vendors in the area. So if you're hearing about expat for the first time, I'm sure you'll hear it again.
You will hear it again.
Yeah.
And you'll see us again. Yeah. So I have a party on May 4th at Vessel, it's in Baltimore. It's a new rooftop spot, a new rooftop cocktail bar over Roos, Baltimore. Baltimore doesn't have a lot of rooftop spots you can access to have parties. So I wanted to try to make that happen. It's basically, let's tell you about the party. Everything we have our standard coffee cocktails with a complimentary coffee cocktail when you get your ticket, live art, and then of course you have amazing house DJs. We have a photo booth as well, a lounge area. We have a lot of other features as well as gift bags, stuff like that. But you get a free carajillo the complimentary cocktail, you get a free carajillo when you get your ticket. And that's basically like a really tasty Spanish liqueur called Licor 43. Okay. And
tell me about
fresh espresso.
This is other than seeing social media, it's the first time I'm hearing about it.
So carajillo is Licor 43, which is a very like sweeter vanilla tasting, very rich liqueur. And then you mix it with fresh espresso. The espresso has like a bitter component to it, sometimes a little bit of fruity component depending on what you're getting, and it really mixes well. But what we're doing, we're kind of taking it up a notch and adding some more ingredients just to kind of make it different, because like you're not going to get this carajillo anywhere else. You're going to get it at our event. You see what I'm saying? So like, sure, you can get a carajillo anywhere you want if they have espresso, fresh espresso, but like, nah, you're going to get something cool here. So basically what we're trying to do is like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been doing this coffee cup things for a while, and I'm tired of everybody getting espresso martinis. at every bar is making an espresso martini or some basic simple version of an espresso martini. Like that's not the only coffee cocktail you can have. You know, there's way more, and you don't need that creamy crap anyway. Get that dairy out your system. You know, I make cocktails sometimes with coffee that only need like a half ounce or a quarter ounce of coffee just for the taste to round out the bitterness or to round out the flavor profile. Yeah. So that's what we kind of trying to do with this party, really, is just get people onto something new and see if we can like get people onto a trend. Yeah. You know what I mean? And really just like give people an experience as well, because Vessel is an inside outside spot, beautiful views right next to the water. And like I said, it's a sensory experience. You're hearing great music, tasting great drinks and food. You're seeing great views. You know, you're smelling great coffee. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I forget what the other fifth sense is.
Yeah. But. No, I mean, you really didn't have to go any farther because I'm sold. But I'm in,
Thank
man.
you.
I'm in. So you're DJing under Too Slim.
Too Slim, yeah.
Yep. And then you and Reid Jaxson have
Cafe
Disco. Yeah, what's Cafe Disco up to?
So Cafe Disco, we're in its infancy stages right now. We are kind of a collective. We could say a label, but right now we're just kind of like working together to build that up. So Cafe Disco is a subset of Coffee Club Social, where we're basically just like pushing artists. Right now the artists are me and Remy or Reid. So we're pushing ourselves and we're pushing those artists. We're making events under that brand. Yeah.
So he's not here to help. So we're gonna go with Reid Jaxson. I'm still thinking Remy.
Yeah.
but we'll let him clear the air.
Absolutely. But we really just met each other maybe a couple months ago, but we've been meshing pretty well. It's very hard to kind of work with somebody you don't really know, but he's been patient with me. Yeah. And in return, I've been patient with him. And I think, it's becoming a great partnership, and I think we could really do some stuff together.
Do you ever have a chance to interact with him or catch any of his open format stuff when he was playing out his
Nah, but I hear a lot of good stuff about him. Yeah. Like he knows a lot of good Baltimore DJs that I know. I've been knowing for a while, so I don't never hear anything bad about him or his music or his skills, his selection, nothing. So I also take that into account as well.
I mean, I probably 3 or 4 times had caught him open format, which my journey is like, let me go out and find stuff, and sometimes you find open format stuff which is not where I prefer to spend my time, but when you find somebody who mixes well, is great on the mic, and Remy's fantastic on the mic, like his mic skills are
That's awesome.
top notch. Yeah. And
I could see that by the way he just kind of like talks and the way he projects himself when he talks. Like he's an MC.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, he's been same as you. Kind of met last year, did one of our house events, did our Halloween party, and has been kind of forward thinking in like what he wants to do next. I know he's got a lot of stuff in the air. He's producing his own tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. He's amazing. Make sure you follow Cafe Disco Rex, and Coffee Club Social.
All the tags. Yeah, but he's not gonna let us go. All the tags. Get in the show notes. Cafe Disco Rex, Reid Jaxson.
Yeah, Reid Jaxson, Jaxson.
XSON. I'll copy and paste.
So many names.
Coffee Club Social. You're but any no Too Slim yet?
So there is Too Slim Instagram. I was gonna integrate it with my Shepsworth Bentley Instagram, but I want to keep that different for now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be it's Baltimore Too Slim, BALDAMORE TEWSLIM. I'll make sure we put that on that.
We got that one.
Yeah, we'll put all the tag. So right now it's Baltimore Too Slim. That started out as my name on Twitter, and I was just like, Baltimore Too Slim sounds cool, but it also is really long, so I just shortened it to Too Slim when I'm putting it on flyers.
It's like it's
because people see the two, you know what I mean? Yeah, they know from Baltimore.
It's a Baltimore thing. I'm gonna let you have that because I got no idea. I'm not even pretend. But you said it, so I trust you. But it's one of those things where like I'm trying to think of another example where somebody's like, "Hey, I've got a really long DJ name," and you're like, "No, but it actually works, right?" You're like, "How did you get 27 characters in your DJ name?"
I don't know, man. I got like a really no, I feel you, but I have a really for some reason I have a really a big affinity for like longer kind of complicated. Like my name on the when I'm on the mic is Shepsworth Bentley. Yeah. You know what I mean? I used to have a name when I was rapping back when I was like 13, it was Explicit Skills and it was spelled weird.
Yeah.
XPLYCT SKYLLZ.
I'm sure there's someone with like linguistics, someone with a linguistics background who can tell us why those like Shepsworth Bentley and Baltimore Too Slim.
Yeah.
It just rolls off the tongue. It sounds perfect.
Yeah, it sounds great, right?
Yeah.
Like Shepsworth Bentley, a lot of people can't say it correctly. But when people hear it, they're like, "Oh, it's a cool name." But I get a lot of Shepsworth Bentley, Shepworth Bentley. I'm just like, all right, whatever, dude. Like, it's all good.
We talked. It's like your preparation as again, you're just getting started as a performer, as a DJ.
Yeah.
Your preparation for a set. Are you kind of preparing track by track, or do you kind of just prepare with a vibe or a direction in mind and see where it takes you? Or
I'm finding myself now that I am starting with a vibe first, because that's how I kind of like create my own events, is like think of the vibe, and then I kind of start from there.
Yeah.
And then I go do kind of track by track and just like see, like damn flies, and then see what tracks kind of fits the vibe, you know what I mean, and just start there.
Yeah.
A lot of times too is I don't have I'm just starting out, so I don't have a massive library. So sometimes I'll just go through my library and just mix for a few hours and see what sounds good. And I'm like, all right, well, this would sound good with this song that I played 3 minutes ago. Yeah. Or you know what I mean?
Well, I know we talked about this a few weeks ago when we first met over at El Techo, just like how to go about discovering new music, new tracks. Any kind of hits or misses since then, like in the last few weeks?
No, not really. I mean, like, to be honest, you mean as far as like finding tracks?
I mean, people will use Beatport, SoundCloud.
Nah, man, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've been using SoundCloud and it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so this is the thing. It's like when people started, when I first started DJing, they were like, yeah, use those DJ pools, which I am using. I do use, but very rarely for now. But there were a lot of people were like, use SoundCloud, and I'm like, I don't really like SoundCloud, but sure. But I started going through it, and I'm seeing all these amazing like mixes of remixes of different songs and edits, and even people that are coming up with their own stuff, and it sounds so good, better than the stuff I'm hearing out right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and I'm discovering new genres and discovering fusions of different genres. Like, I just heard, I'm playing a song for Expat that has, it's basically disco. But it also has like a little bit of like breaks and reggae in there as well. Yeah. So like, I got something with a little bit of like Spanish flavor in there. So like it's crazy to see that like so much music is undiscovered on SoundCloud. There's a lot of people that only have like 50 followers after best music.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
It's endless. I mean, it really is. And there's, I think you can take anything from Beatport, from SoundCloud, from your friends, from things like, if you put it all together the right way, right? Like at the end of the day, it's not going to matter where it came from. But the last thing you want to do is find the same, the same top 10, top 20.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah, I don't want to do.
Same sound over.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I don't
Like
want to
your
do
example,
that.
yeah.
Thank you. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to like, I don't want to play with everybody's playing. And like, I feel like in electronic music, dance music world, EDM, whatever you want to call it, I feel like there are a lot of DJs that really are like the same way. But
Yeah, I think
I
some of that-
want to go deeper.
Yeah, some of that's a response to has to be a response to the crowd. And
Yeah.
some of it's a habit, some of it's a response to the crowd. And I understand kind of both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
Like you find yourself playing in a place where you want to push, you want to pull some deep cuts,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, but they just want to hear Stephanie.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
fine, I'll drop it. But I understand kind of both sides of it, where people are sometimes unwilling to push the deep cuts because they don't want to lose the room. And like I don't really care.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel like that
I'm
too.
playing in a place, or if I'm in a place where I can clearly tell the DJ is trying to just hold on to the room and not truly express their music,
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah,
And I know
absolutely.
like that's like antithetical, and DJ is like, oh, like you gotta, cool, like great, find the right room. Like,
Yeah.
that comes before, like, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
that's controversial. Maybe I don't care. But
no, I mean, I think that's probably a topic to be discussed. This is probably something you can put on, for content, because I think people are going to respond
I
to
get
that.
some more.
Yeah.
I get some people who are better at the craft than I am, but I do think it's worth having that longer discussion, right? Like,
Yeah.
I get it. You go into a room, you want to keep the room, and it's that there's like the meme that's been out there for a couple years, right? It's probably not there much longer actually, where it's like, a good DJ will play the songs you want to hear, and a great DJ will play the songs you didn't know you wanted to hear, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a battle a lot of us fight.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
It's not to say that I have an opinion necessarily one way or the other. I think it's just finding the right balance to express yourself.
Exactly.
Versus, pleasing the masses, which, pays the bills.
Right.
Getting booked, but.
And I know that like the balances may be different for everybody, but at the same time, it could be such a very thin line, because like people can be very picky these days.
Yeah.
It's like I think that's why like these days a lot of like remixes and a lot of like edits are very popular, because like you're still playing something like the melody and the kicks and all that, the structure of the song is different, but the lyrics are still there. You still know the lyrics, you know what I mean? Like, like I got a disco remix of a Michael Jackson song, and like people are gonna be like, yeah, I hear this song, but wow, this sounds good over this beat.
Yeah.
So I think a balance is right there. But again, I don't know. I'm new to this and I'm still learning, so I don't want to share my opinion and have people agree with it or disagree yet, because like I said, I'm just learning as I go.
You might find in 6 months that your view has changed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now I'm a little more over here towards like, I've perfected this part of the craft.
Yeah.
Playing more vocal, more remixes. And then, 6 months later, you're like, what was I thinking? Right? Like, that cycle probably repeats itself. And,
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people experience that, some like within a couple weeks, some within months, some within years, but it's not uncommon. I've heard a lot of people who've been doing this for decades say the same thing as people who've been doing this for a year or two. It's like, last thing we're to talk about, just what in Baltimore more broadly, outside of your own events, like what's your experience been like there with the music scene, and what are you looking forward to if this summer for your hometown?
So I've been in the scene for a long time, and I've seen the scene come and go. And I think right now Baltimore is in a big renaissance for nightlife. We had a time where we weren't really having like really genuine nightlife, outside of the top 40 and the party house stuff, whatever you want to call it, the stuff you hear in like in Baltimore, like in like Federal Hill or something like that, you know what I mean? But I think that's changing now, and I think people are really appreciating like different genres and are really appreciating like the actual nightlife scene instead of going to places like power plants. So I think that Baltimore Renaissance is happening. I mean, we got places like the Compound, we got Current Space. So these are like really cool places that aren't just like clubs or bars. These are like have more of an experience around them. You know what I mean? And like, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years, but I think right now Baltimore is in good hands. You know, we have great DJs like DJ Sun, we have Tromac, we have Cashless, we have DJ Taz, we have, you know, a lot of different amazing DJs that are really pushing the envelope for Baltimore City. Yeah. And as far as Baltimore for the summer, I'm just hoping to see. I really think that Baltimore is really going to be receptive to more different styles of music this summer. I think people every year past the pandemic, I feel people want to be outside more and want to have this experience, have a different experience. So I think that, you know, these DJs that are really playing a lot of these underground clubs are probably gonna end up playing like, you know, some bigger clubs and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't know, but I think Baltimore is definitely in good hands in the next few years. So
it seems like, man, I've had a good experience each and every time I've been up there. So yeah, if you see this man near espresso machine, DJ booth, like stick around, because it's gonna keep getting better, man.
We got a lot coming in 2025 and then 2026. It's up, man.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to
thank
talk,
you,
man. Baker's daughter here at Eaton Hotel, they have no idea that we were gonna do this, but
I don't think they knew.
Thanks for
it's okay.
Thanks for not bothering us. We just kind of set up and did our thing.
Thanks.
They're they're not even paying attention. They don't care. They just want us to clean up.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But hey man, thanks for doing this. I really
thank you, man.
it.
I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the Open Decks podcast with DJ Too Slim, Cafe Disco Rex, Coffee Club Social, Shepsworth Bentley.
All the tags.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thanks you for watching. Thanks. Never try that again.